They're only crying foul, they're only being lazy about it, and they only want to continue to provide their kind of quality service for us.
Well, thank you, Honorable Minister, for speaking with me today, and thank you for watching. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
Comic Republic is a Nigerian startup where we tell African stories. We push the African narrative forward through a traditional art form that is popular all around the world, which is comic books.
We kind of write stories that everybody can find a bit of themselves somewhere in there. You know, when you read our books, you will always be able to find one book that you are able to connect with, even if you are not an African. It's not just for Africans alone, but it's the African narrative. That's really what we do.
We take the process of telling our stories, you know, making our comic books engaging. We do it professionally and we take it as a business. We're growing bigger every day.
You know, we try to make sure that all of our comics, all of our content has a positive message underlying them, even apart from all the action, all the punching, and all the superheroics.
Right now we have close to 48,000 downloads per comic book. We get between 5,000 to 7,000 unique visitors every week. Nigerians have been really excited to see people in Nigeria creating heroes from Nigerians, telling Nigerians that we can be everything we need to be if we only try. The comic business actually has a wide range.
One of the major things that actually helps us to move forward here is the fact that we are more than just a team, we are a family. And family is everything. We understand ourselves, we know what we're meant to do when we're meant to do, and we get them done.
The first and foremost vision for Comic Republic is to take control of the African narrative. Who are the biggest superheroes you know today? You're looking at Spider-Man, Captain America, and Superman. If you look at the colors of their uniform, they're all the colors of the American flag. If you look at where those people come from, they come from America. This is a way that a country has from generation to generation, you know, programmed their people to believe that they are strong and they are efficient. We want to do the same with Comic Republic. That's what we want to do at Comic Republic. That's our vision. And until we're number one at that in the world, we're not going to stop.
Welcome. On the set today, we have two people. One of them wrote the book you're just seeing on air now. It's called And the Storm Came. And the second person has a similar experience to the extent that they have shared, well, common grief. We're talking about grief today. Now, at the end of this show, my sisters and I, my co-anchors and I, and today you will see them once I come back, my co-anchors and I are going to help you understand that grief will come, but there are ways to handle it. And our guests will help you know that even when the storm comes, you can survive. We'll be right back. My sisters in the house. One of them is my little sister. No, you're both my little sisters, by the way. My sisters in the house. Yes, now, who's my littlest sister in the house with me? Yes, we all know these things. But this is lounge. Welcome to the lounge. So you guys welcome them to the lounge now.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for making our time to be here. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Some people are going to wonder, we're talking about grief and all of us are smiling. You know, but just a quick introduction of both of them, you know, and I want to make sure I do it right. Kike Mudiaga wrote that book, And the Storm Came. Kike Mudiaga is a writer and an author, obviously. She's written that book. And Kike lost her mother and her sister in one go. She'll tell us about it. And sitting right next to me is Banke Shotomi. Is that
Shotomi.
Shotomi. Okay, I'll stick with the Banke. Banke only lost her husband a few months ago. And some will be saying, why is Banke not wearing black? So let me start from there. But Banke is a transformational life coach. It's like, did life prepare you for what you're experiencing today in some ways?
Yeah, pretty much. My journey has been a journey of ups and downs, as most people have. But particularly in my 20s, I had emotional issues, emotional traumas.
You don't look like you're too far from 20s.
Yeah. Well, I am. And my 20s really taught me a lot about the mind, a lot about emotional healing, a lot about how to overcome challenges. And I believe that it's those journeys that has helped me to be sitting here, but also has given me the passion and the desire to help other women who feel stuck in their lives, who kind of have gone through things or don't know where to go, how to actually make transformational changes to make their lives much better.
That sounds interesting, you know, but you know, I said something about not wearing black. You know how in Africa we say...
When you lose somebody, you're supposed to wear black for a couple of, I mean, maybe 6 months,
Well, I actually did wear black. I'm Yoruba, so we have the 40 days cultural mourning, and actually that ended last week
Sometime,
on my birthday.
Yeah, a while
it
ago.
ended on...
Oh, it went on your birthday this year?
It ended on the day of my birthday, and so I was wearing black, actually. I couldn't wear makeup. I was very in a sober, somber look. So yes, I did have a lot of black.
Even you are saying, wow. And Dion is kind of...
I'm going to be a little bit quiet because grief is very difficult for me. I don't know how to do grief. People say, that's a very strange statement. How do you do grief? I really don't know. I may not know the person being buried, but I will cry.
Oh my God, that's
like,
the thing. People thinking,
yes,
people, men, the emotions and everything.
It's just too much. So when I do know the person, I don't know what to do. So I shut down mentally and emotionally for a season. So I'm going to be listening to learn, mostly, because I really don't. Maybe you'll be able to tell me how you grieve.
Okay, before we share our own personal experiences about grieving, it would be nice to hear what it was like for you, because the interesting thing about your story, sorry about the word interesting, you know, your sister, your younger sister died in an accident with your mother in the same car, and they were going to Ibadan to plan for your older sister's wedding. So who will grieve the most in that kind of circumstance?
Oh, everyone. My dad, my
wow.
sister, you know.
It was, sometimes they say when you lose someone suddenly, it's a bit harder than if maybe someone was ill and you had time. It was too sudden. In the midst of getting ready for a wedding, a happy thing, everybody was excited, okay? So it took its toll on us in different ways. My sister, who was getting married, just, you know, first of all, yes, that was the big question. Should we go ahead? Everything was ready. It was so funny because we got to Ibadan and we didn't know who did mommy give the clothes to, who is the tailor, you know. So it was an interesting mix of things, you know. And interestingly, my sister, my younger sister who passed in the accident, had come to see me in school for the first time. She just came. She decided to come to Unilag at the time and surprise me with a visit, you know, saying, oh, we're going to Ibadan tomorrow.
She saw you the day before?
Yeah, we're going to Ibadan tomorrow. And, you know, so I took her around my hall and introduced her to everyone, my sister, my younger sister, and all that. So it was hard because we had to decide, okay, should we continue with this or just take time to grieve? The cards were out. People were traveling from all over. It was the first wedding in the house, so it was a big deal for my parents. And so we had to decide, and my dad said, no, I'm not going to let the enemy take everything.
Oh.
So we're going to go ahead, and we just had to pull ourselves together. So it was interesting because on the wedding day, people were mourning because they knew, you know, what it took to pull this through.
Okay, wait, I mean, it was nice to understand what happened. You know, I know that for you, you were away from your husband when it happened, you know.
Yeah, mine was also a sudden situation. I was actually on the bus on the way to the airport to go back home to be with him.
On the bus here? Or
in
where?
London. Okay. I had flown out for just 1 week.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And he wasn't ill?
He wasn't ill in terms of he had an illness, but he had a heart condition.
Okay.
But it was a heart condition that was under medication, and it was one that we were going to get surgery for. In fact, the day would have been this Monday just gone. So that was an emotional day for me to think that, you know, today we could have actually had the surgery and, you know, everything would have been okay. But I was on my way to the airport on the day. I was sitting in the bus. I got the call first from his PA, which was very unusual because I'd called him a few hours before and he didn't pick up. And again, that was a very unusual thing because we were always speaking. As a matter of fact, that particular morning, we were on FaceTime and everything was great. And he was like, oh, I love you. I can't wait to see you. And I was like, I love you too. I can't wait to see you. So when the PA called me, I knew that, okay, they said he had fainted. So I said, okay, we can manage fainting. Fainting is okay. And then I was like, okay, if he's fainted, let me speak to him. Then that's when the story started, you know, getting back and forth. And I said, I insisted that I want to speak to the doctor. And so they said, okay, we'll go back inside the hospital and get you to speak to the doctor. So the driver called me back, trying to give me the phone to the doctor for me to speak to. But unfortunately, the doctor wasn't aware that I was on the phone. And he kind of shouted at the driver, what is it? I've told you, he's gone, he's gone. So that was how I actually heard the news. And so at that moment, I was like, okay, God, please just let it be a mistake. Let them not know what's going on. You know, let it just be incompetence that we're dealing with here. And so the driver dropped the phone, called me back, gave the phone to a particular nurse. The nurse was like, oh, don't worry, Ma, we're trying to give him oxygen, we're trying to revive him. But I knew by that time they were just trying to cover up. I guess no one really wanted to
hear. Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away here. I was in the UK.
She was coming back the next flight.
Yes.
You were going to board.
That same night, I was on my way to the airport. Literally, I was on my way to the airport. So I called the driver back and I said, look, just tell me the truth. What has happened? And that was when he confirmed that he had passed away. And, you know, it's one of those moments where you have an out-of-body experience because you're like, what? You know, and I broke down in the bus.
Yeah, what were you like on the way?
Exactly, how was your trip back?
I had to compose myself because my younger son was flying back with me and I didn't want to tell him at the time. So it was actually the singular most difficult experience I've ever encountered because at the same time, I'm in shock, I'm crying, I'm devastated, but I have to gather myself together to, you know, to be there for my son without letting him know what's happened and go on an 6-hour flight back home, all composed. So my family were obviously very worried. And my sister had taken me to the airport and I remember crying so desperately. And when my son had come to the airport, I said, okay, you've got to get it together. You've got to get it together.